Is 5 o'clock, so we will get the meeting called to order. Just a little bit of housekeeping, from 5 to hopefully 5:45-ish, we'll have our regular select board meeting. That'll give us all a little bio break before we switch into the town info meeting, which is supposed to start at 6. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Shay's like, oh my God.
It's nice to see so many people here and virtually. So we have a quorum. The first order of business is to accept the minutes from our March 27th regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any further questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Visitors' comments. Is there anybody here for something that is not currently on the agenda?
I just had a question, and it's in no regard to the agenda. It was just in regards to the mowing contract that's going out to bid. I don't know if you want me to ask that now or wait further on the meeting or.
I don't know.
There, yeah, go ahead, because the mowing isn't on the
Sure.
agenda, so go ahead.
No, I know it wasn't on the agenda. I just came in and spoke with Dave Dyer earlier in the week about how strict was the 6-foot setback on the mowing requirement on that. Just because the mower that I can get for that is 5.
9 inches.
Yeah, 5'3" or something like that.
Or 9 inches.
Yeah, come up 9 inches short on the mowing.
I mean, that would be perfect. It would
And I was
be,
gonna say, and of course, it's all pending whether or not I get the mower here in time for, I don't wanna bid on it, find out I'm not gonna get the mower until the 1st of July and then miss so I'm just kind of waiting to play the game from the dealership to see what.
so I think it's always has always been in there. It's been a goal, but it
Sure.
never happens because of things may be in the roadway,
Right.
et cetera.
Of course, all the tree limbs and everything now, but.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's something we can make
Right.
progress on.
Can you get a grinder on that edge of the mower?
Yeah, tag on the trailer.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. Ferry service update. I know John King is not here. I don't anticipate, any new news there. Sea level rise update. I don't have a, major update. I know it's a topic of discussion at the town info meeting, so I will hold all of the good info for a more detailed presentation then. Municipal building project, is there any one thing you want to talk about now instead of new business or?
I think we'll wait to new business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Upcoming meetings and subcommittee reports. We have planning board meeting on April 22nd. Are there other meetings on the calendar or any subcommittee reports?
A harbor committee on April 18th.
All right, town manager report.
I've given you an email from William Gary, the manager of the ferry service. I asked him for an update on the Maggie, and this was actually a week ago, and then it was about a month. So I'm sure it's still 4 to 6 weeks out from returning. So if I get a better update, I'll let you know. If you all hear anything, or if John can, I don't think he is on. Yeah. You have from the Rural Energy Prize activities, their report for March and April. That's Cressica and Kizzy Barton. You have anything to say, Kizzy? Kizzy. Cressica?
No, feel free to read the report. Thank you.
Have the Bar Harbor Wealth Capital Reserve account for March 31st. I have a letter from Senator Angus King, congratulating us on the congressionally districting spending project being in the final reviews, and they would be letting us know more information as soon as they knew how to go forward, how Cressica will go forward. I had given you probably, I'm pretty sure, from John King, started last week, I think it was the ICC asked about changing day of the fueling for the ferry, so it would help perhaps people coming to the farmers market, vendors. And after all that, talking about it and everything, I had an email yesterday or last night saying ICC is withdrawing their request, so it was just a fun time to talk about ferry. Oh, and I think you all received earlier this morning from Frank Starr an email about the last select board meeting and the appointment for the broadband committee opening. That's something, I don't know if anybody, if you even read it, if you want to discuss it or anything, but that's out there.
We got it so late.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely something that deserves a response, but it's not something that I've had a chance to thoroughly review and digest, to discuss tonight.
Okay. I've hired Thomas Michaud for the public works position, and he will begin next Tuesday, the 16th. And I just want to give you an update on legal services search. To date, I've received one proposal from Eaton Peabody out of Ellsworth, and I'm expecting another one from another law firm in Portland that said they were going to send something, so. Then after I get a couple, maybe it'll be 3, then you might want to decide when you want to interview them, and I've told them I've received and I'll let them know in the future.
Do you know when, we can anticipate the second, is there a deadline on the
I'll
current
contact-
RFP?
There is a deadline, but I think it's in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So I pushed it back, but no one had responded, then I had face.
Yeah. Well, if we get a couple of responses, and I think, out of respect for people who are considering responding, we should wait until it closes. But in the meantime, we could put some dates on the calendar. We can start.
And I will follow up on that. The other one I think is from Woodson.
It's exciting to potentially have a couple of options.
May one, have a copy of the RFP at the town office.
Yes, I'm sure we can definitely get that to you.
Thank you.
And that's it for me, unless there's any questions about anything I've handed out, which you've probably just received. Did you have a question for?
No,
Oh,
but this information will be made copies of. Is that for the information meeting?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I thought if we put it out now, I mean beforehand,
okay,
I just hand it out.
okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Janet or correspondence? All right, no old business. Under new business, vote on the special town meeting warrant for April 24th, 2024. So just as I know, Lauren has, and others have a lot to present on this topic, but I think what we're trying to achieve here is to, we have a draft warrant in front of us, which would allow us to have a special town meeting on April 24th for the voters to consider and vote on additional funds for the municipal building project. You wanna?
Right, basically, at the select board needs to approve the warrant. In advance of this meeting, I did provide the select board with all of the notes for the information meeting, so they've seen what will be presented after this meeting. But the bulk of what we'll be sharing will be at the information meeting. I just want to make that clear. So what I will be presenting now will be a kind of a short version of that. And then we have myself and Steve Blatt and Mark Ouellette are on Zoom and can help us answer questions and go through some of the material. But in terms of the audience, I just want to warn you that there's, the bulk of what we have to say in detail will be at the information meeting, so this might be a little bit shorter than that. Well, depending on what the select board members want, we might go way into it, you never can tell. So with that, I just want to say, we have in the audience from the Municipal Building Project Committee, Bill Boardman, and Linda Gillies and Dareth Roberts. Pete Anderson, senior, not the junior here, is on Zoom. He's so ill that he's muted himself so he doesn't annoy the audience. And myself, then there are two other members. Who else is here?
Jay.
JT.
Jay, you showed up. Thank you, Jay, and Jay Zlatowski. The only member missing from our committee then is David Sessions, who is traveling. I think at this point he's in Virginia or something like that. So, and I just wanted to introduce them because a little background, really, really briefly. I promise to be as short as I can be, but this whole process of what to do in terms of a municipal building project began in, I want to get it right, March of 2021. So the work to find out began with the select board saying that we need to investigate overcrowding in this building. We need to get more room for our EMS and fire volunteers and staff. And we need to get more room for the health center staff. And free up even a little bit of space for the municipal office. So that's how this whole thing was initiated 3 years ago. And so we've gone through a lot in that period of time. As you know, or may not know, the original estimate for the building was established after we had hired Steve Blatt and architects to do the work. And that happened back in February 22nd of 2022. So that process has been long, but now we have the original cost estimate for the entire three-part project, and that's $3,500,000. Of that, we raised $1,750,000 in public bond and $1,849,658 in private contributions. We actually raised 100,000 more than was promised in public private contributions. That original estimate of $3,500,000 was determined 2 years ago, but circumstances have changed in the construction world. Prices have been driven up considerably, and we now have established through our work with Ledgewood Construction and many other players in working on this, a guaranteed maximum price for the three-part project. I held up 4 fingers for three-part project for $4,465,990. That means that we have a shortfall from the estimate to the final guaranteed price. And that shortfall is $866,332. The road to get to this point has been long and challenging, but well worth the effort. Our goal is to reduce costs and get the GMP as low as possible without sacrificing function and including all 3 parts. And by 3 parts, of course, I mean the renovation of this building when the health center moves out, the creation of a health center building, and the very important building of the Up Island Public Safety Garage in the North End of Island. So on March 12th, the Municipal Building Committee, the members of whom are here for the most part, voted unanimously to recommend to the select board that they sign a warrant for $866,322. And that's what we will be bringing to the town for a vote on April 24th. So, and I do have one clarification, and then I'm going to ask Mark and Steve to talk a little bit. But one clarification, the total request that we have in that bond, in that warrant, will cover the cost of all 3 projects. But we will not be using Ledgewood Construction to build the Up Island Public Safety Garage. The bids for that small building were just too high. but it was unanimous on our committee's part that we must fund all three projects. So instead, we'll be looking for another way to build the Up Island Public Safety Garage. We're looking into a metal building. We're still hoping that we might get a on-island builder to do it, but it will be done. So if the funding is approved, finding a way this year to build that Up Island Public Safety Garage is the first thing on our agenda. So the members of the select board, I've given you a copy of what we'll present in the information meeting. And this information, we have Steve Blatt, and I think Steve's there, but we certainly have Mark Willett if you want to go through the budget and ask some questions, we're happy to do so. I did have one more thing. I just have to say this. We have from Cressica Brazier a kind of a summary sheet for the impact on taxpayers. And this year, the typical property tax for year-round islanders is $3,200. That's the typical property tax for year-round islanders. If the town approves a new warrant, that would mean the tax increase for that property tax would be $30 a year. So that's basically the price of a summer ferry ticket. I've been told I must add that and show you this. Cressica and team. All right, so on to answering any questions from the select board committee.
Oh.
No questions from me?
You know, first, any kind of timeline on building the Howard building?
As fast as possible. We might have, I don't know if
I'm just
Mark,
asking if there was a timeline for the building of the Up Island part of this, because I know that was a big reason that a lot of people got behind it, and
yeah,
I want to make sure that that does not get.
I don't have that answer for you, but I wondered, Mark, were you able to get an estimate on just a wild estimate on what a metal building might be?
Well, we believe, and just having built one for a school district, we believe that the monies that we're budgeting of the $432,000, we believe that a metal building can be built for that, certainly that price. Do you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right.
And we have some expertise on the island, people that have done metal buildings, Jay among them. We can't begin work on that immediately. We just got this guaranteed maximum price like 2 weeks ago, so we haven't had hardly a breath to take to look into the next stage, which is finding how to do the Up Island Public Safety Garage. The bids that came in for the Up Island Public Safety Garage were just simply too high. We could show you the budget. We'll be showing it at the information meeting. I believe that it was almost $1 million for a little garage, 2-bay garage. Just in the words of Pete Anderson, he couldn't bring it to the community with a straight face. There was no way we were going to ask to fund that amount, if that makes sense to everybody. But the money is in there. We just have to find another way to build it that doesn't require the construction manager process. Jay, do you want to add anything to that? Or Bill Boardman?
No.
Okay. Okay. Now we come to a vote.
Yep, I would,
A question. I understand that there was before the committee was raised recently, the idea of some land that's just up the road on Main Road where there already is a 2-bay metal building that went on the market for sale. And I wonder what the committee has done to look into the viability of that and to consider that as an option for the public safety garage.
That's worth looking into. I wasn't aware of that.
it's not an
So
island.
All
Yeah.
options.
It's not on Island, it's still on this side of the Narrows.
Oh, it's a side.
It's David Paul.
Oh, yeah, no. We want something north of the Narrows. And you can see by the reaction of the room, everybody knows what's happened in the Narrows this last winter. Well, for a long time, we've had trouble with flooding on the Narrows. The Sea Level Rise Committee will be talking about that later on this evening. But thank you for that idea, but we really need something north of the Narrows. Thank you.
Any further questions?
What would, let's say we vote yes, what's the priority of the Up Island substation? Would that be the first to break ground, or would it be the health center or the renovation?
Oh, probably the very end of April, first part of May, we're gonna have groundbreaking on the health center because all those designs are in place and that's under the construction manager. So if we had gotten decent bids on the Up Island Public Safety Garage, we could have actually saved, ultimately, it would have been some savings to do them simultaneously if it hadn't been for the outrageous bid on the Up Island Public Safety Garage. So if we had not had that outrageous bid, we could have simultaneously built them, but now we have to revisit the issue and get the Up Island Public Safety Garage. But believe me, that's really near and dear to the heart of the committee and everybody on the island. I don't think there's anybody on the island that wants a health center, but not an Up Island Public Safety Garage. I don't picture it.
Frank, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, my only question at this point is, if building a metal building instead of what was originally designed will come in closer to what the town was hoping for, is there sacrifices that will be being made by going with a metal building? Because it would seem, just not knowing much about it, that if they were created equal, there'd be a lot more metal buildings going up than what we see.
Yeah, I don't think, we've talked with Mert a little bit. I don't think we're wedded to a metal building. It's one option that's definitely out there and available. So give us a little time to work on this. We really literally have had no time since getting a guaranteed maximum price to turn around and focus on a new option, which is building it separate from this process. So let's give us some time. I don't think the door is shut on anything, Frank, in terms of stick built or having something like, I understand that there's panels that are pre-built that you can ship and put together. We have all kinds of ideas out there that we've heard, but we haven't explored all of them yet, and we will. Mert, do you want to add anything to that?
Sorry, the timeline for construction for the health center, if we're gonna wait till the health center is done before we dive into the Up Island garage.
No, we're not waiting. No, not at all. We're starting construction of the health center, but the committee's going right forward and looking into how to construct the Up Island Public Safety Garage. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. There's no reason for the committee to delay.
So I think
Just kind of, no, continue.
just want to say, clarify my understanding. So in order for to move forward with and sign the guaranteed maximum price, we need to have voter approval for raising the funds necessary to do that. So once that is done, then Ledgewood and the architects can move forward with that project in their lead, but the committee can continue to work outside of that process on the Up Island Public Safety Garage. Is that?
That's
My
correct.
understanding is correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that, sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I just wanna make sure that there's not gonna be any sort of, any delay on that, that we don't dedicate a lot of overtime and energy into the health center while putting that on the back burner. So to speak, I
No.
wanna make sure they remain on the same burner.
We've got a two burner setup in our committee.
Okay.
It's actually a 3-burner because we want to renovate the building when it's vacated. So,
I hate to be a pest, but Did Ledgewood provide a breakdown for their nearly exactly $1 million increase, that they, built into the guaranteed maximum?
I'm not sure I follow, but yes, they provided, we have incredible layers of paperwork that we've sorted through in the process of doing this, yes. And, that can be made available. I'm not sure you want to look at it, but it can be made available. We
Well,
have
it's just
all of the
nice.
bids. We have.
It's nice when someone, you have a, estimate of 3.5 million, and then you have a guaranteed price maximum, which I understand. I mean, I would assume they're going to absorb any overage,
Yes,
yes.
their
So-
maximum price means that
Right.
it's a maximum price, yeah.
So then it's always nice to see, how did you get from 3.5 million to essentially 4.5 million? How did you
Right,
get there?
we
And
have
so I
that,
assume they provided that.
yes, the committee worked with them in, that's a process that was done in detail with the committee, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good questions, thank you.
Any further questions right now? All right, given the committee's recommendation, I would move to approve the special town meeting warrant, setting a special town meeting for April 24th. Anyone like to second it?
It's your baby, friends.
I'll second it.
Any further questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
unanimous, great.
All right, so
Now the hard work, must begin.
that is the warrant. All right, the next order of business under new business is to discuss the Sears Island facility. I think Steve Miller is online with a request. Steve, do you want to introduce this issue?
Well, sure. Thank you, Shay. I guess I don't have a whole lot to add to what I've already provided the board, but as just to sort of recapitulate here, shortly after there was public notice that Department of Transportation would be pursuing developing a fairly major manufacturing, assembling and launching facility for offshore wind components in November 2021, the select board, shortly after that, the select board adopted a statement indicating that existing information at that time led them to believe that the best location was Mac Point if it was to be built in Penobscot Bay. And then in like just about a year ago, actually, in May, on May 24th, 2023, the select board adopted another very, very similar statement because there had been some additional information provided over the course of that couple of years and or a year and a half. And so here we are a year later, and the matter is still very much in flux or in debate, I guess, or in process. But there is more information available now. I would like to add that there's a considerable amount of information available about the ecological characteristics and the importance of Sears Island and to Penobscot Bay because of all the past development proposals. But at any rate, in particular, Islesboro Islands Trust received and became aware of two documents very recently. One of those was a 6-page letter from public employees for environmental responsibility outlining their very, very sincere and deep concerns about the governor's announcement to pursue development of this facility on Sears Island, explicitly indicating that that was their preference. And this letter from Kyla Bennett at Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility was very clear and very detailed as to why that was not a good idea. And that letter was based largely on historical factual information. So it's an important letter because I do think it lays out a lot of reasons why this facility should not be on Sears Island. And subsequently, the only other location in Penobscot Bay that's being considered is Mac Point. So it means not Sears Island, but go ahead and do it at Mac Point. And the other document we received recently is from a group called Sunlight Media Collective, which is a representative of Indigenous voices here in Maine. And they produced a very interesting letter, I thought interesting. It's called Tribal Perspective on Proposed Windport on Wasumkik, which is their name for Sears Island. So these two documents do bring very useful and important information sort of to the record on the matter, and it made sense to Osbriar's Trust to request the board do simply really share the statement that was adopted a year ago, in a sense, kind of like a reminder to other municipal governments of that, because it was shared then, but to share that again with copies of these two documents. And a cover letter, and the cover letter I provided you with doesn't say much more than, or it says a whole lot less than what I just spent 5 minutes describing, but it indicates the key points. And I think the sort of the primary note in the letter is at the end when we were recommending that the board write, "We encourage you," meaning other municipal governments, "to review these documents and adopt if you have not already done so, an affirmation like the Islesboro Select Board Statement of May 2023. So I'm happy to go over any of those details, but and any other questions that you might have. But we're hoping that the board just, in a sense, follows through or takes this next step, very much similar to steps that the board has taken in the past.
Great, thanks, Steve, for summarizing the, this issue and for making the request. Osprey Islands Trust has long been a leader in helping to, share information around Penobscot Bay with other communities. And, I think I am happy to send a letter to other communities in Penobscot Bay and just let them know what we have said on the issue, and encourage them to weigh in if they also have a position.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and as usual, Steve has done a great job of keeping people informed about this issue and trying to work with communities. I did notice that the Dune legislation fell through. Those of you who don't know about that, it'd be interesting to read about. Legislature was going to try to exempt Sears Island from regulations regarding sand dunes, and that legislation, that attempt failed. So that may impact what they're trying to do on Sears Island as well.
Peter, Melissa, do you have any questions or?
No.
Comments?
Are you gonna ask us to sign this?
Yes, so I would,
I don't believe I signed the last one.
you didn't sign the, we didn't, right, yep,
So I will likely not be signing this one.
okay. Would anyone be willing to make a motion to send a cover letter with the materials that Steve has provided, our municipal resolution and the two documents providing backup information to other Penobscot Bay communities?
So move. You got it. Second.
Any further discussion? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are you abstaining or are you?
Staying, I
Okay.
suppose.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, thank you. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you keeping us updated on the status of the project. I know it's a lot of work to monitor and weigh in at the right times.
I will certainly try to do that. Thank you.
All right, next up is to approve warrant number 21 for $270,000, $270,435.65. I have a motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. All right, appointments. At our last meeting, we did vote to approve Dave Dyer to the Deputy Road Commissioner position, so I don't believe that we need another motion, but we do have appointment papers here that we need to sign. And chair comments. My only comment is thank you all for coming and attending the regular meeting, and now you get to sit through the fun info meeting. I appreciate everybody showing up early and looking forward to more thoughtful discussion during the info meeting.
Yeah, ditto what she said. Thank you all for showing up. It's really great to have you here. And we will have a lot more information. I have, copies of budget information up here. You know, I'll get up and pass it around after this meeting is done. Thank you.
Melissa? No, thank you. No comments? Pete? All right, with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Pete, second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, we'll take a 20-minute break and we'll be back at 6.